Channel message.
There is a difference between someone who is intuitive and someone who is predatory. Both may notice what has not been said. Both may recognize loneliness behind confidence, grief beneath strength, fear beneath over-explaining, or the exhaustion of a person who has spent most of their life carrying more than what they should have had to carry. The difference is not whether they can recognize pain. The difference is what they believe that pain gives them the right to do. A truly intuitive person understands that another human being's wound is not an invitation. They may sense that something is tender and become more careful. They do not force a conversation. They do not demand disclosure. They do not make silence uncomfortable just to create intimacy faster than it has earned. Real sensitivity understands that pain belongs to the person carrying it. It is not a shortcut to closeness. It is not a doorway. It is not proof that someone deserves more access. A person can be naturally perceptive and still know how to leave a wound alone until someone feels safe enough to speak about it. A safe person does not need your history immediately in order to feel close to you. They do not need to know every betrayal, every fear, every family wound, every loss, every insecurity, or every place you are still trying to heal in order to feel important in your life. A predator often does. Predatory people experience tenderness differently. Where a healthy person sees something that requires care, a predator sees an opening. The predator may sound gentle at first. What happened in your last relationship? Why is it so hard for you to trust? Who made you feel like you had to be so strong? Why are you afraid? What are you afraid of? Those questions are not automatically dangerous, right? The danger is in the appetite behind them. In safe hands, disclosure remains yours. In predatory hands, disclosure becomes reconnaissance. Every answer gives them information about where pressure may work. A fear of abandonment tells them how much distance can be used before panic begins. A betrayal of history tells them how reassurance can become something you work for. A habit of over-explaining tells them guilt may be enough to weaken a boundary. A spiritual background tells them which language may make you second-guess your own instincts. A deep need to be chosen tells them how little affection may be required to keep you emotionally attached. That is not spiritual insight. That is a predator. That is somebody looking at a human being and trying to determine where the door is weakest. A person with genuine intuition hears, I have been abandoned before, and becomes more responsible with your trust. A predator person hears the same thing and starts calculating how much inconsistency you will tolerate before you begin chasing reassurance. A safe person learns that someone has been betrayed and becomes more transparent. A predator learns that betrayal shapes someone's life, then introduces secrecy, omission, mixed signals, strange gaps in the story, and enough confusion to make the old wound wake back up. A safe person hears that someone was punished for having needs and respects the first boundary. A predator may respond with sadness, guilt, anger, spiritual language, accusations, disappointment, or the performance of being wounded. You are triggered. You are afraid of love. You are pushing me away. You are letting your past ruin something good. You are blocking your blessings. My Lord. The language changes depending on the person, yeah? But the message underneath it remains the same. Your protection is the problem. That is why some people feel so intuitive in the beginning. They remember details. They mirror your language. They name the loneliness, the betrayal, the shame, the fear of being too much, the fear of not being enough, the fear of being alone. For somebody who has spent years feeling unseen, that kind of accuracy can feel almost sacred. It can feel like relief. It can feel like finally being understood, right? But being accurately read is not the same as being safely held. Someone can recognize the exact injury you carry and still have every intention of using it against you. People miss that part because we're being seen. The predator is not always moving towards the wound simply to take advantage of it at once. They may be moving towards it to reopen it, to deepen it, to recreate the same pain you were already trying to heal from. Then make themselves the person you have to keep returning to for relief. A person who learns abandonment is your deepest fear may begin with overwhelming affection, reassurance, attention, and promises of safety. Once you begin to trust it, the warmth starts disappearing. Communication changes. Affection becomes inconsistent. The person who made you feel chosen becomes a person making you feel disposable. Now, the old wound is alive again. A person who learns that uncertainty makes you anxious may become vague after being intensely available, right? A person who knows you fear rejection may begin to become distant whenever you ask for clarity. A person who knows you have survived emotional neglect may offer just enough tenderness to keep you invested, then remove it at the exact moment you begin needing it. The fear is created. Then the same person who created it offers comfort. Your judgment gets disrupted. Then they become the interpreter of what is really happening. Your peace gets disturbed. Then they become offended when you seek reassurance. The wound is reopened. Then they position themselves as the only person who can solve it. That is not love. That is someone trying to become necessary inside a pain they help create. The violation is not only in what they do. It is in the fact that they recognize what was soft, private, sacred, unfinished, and already wounded inside another human being and decided it could be used. Yep. We're going to use it for access, use it to keep attention, use it to create dependency, use it to pull someone away from their own fucking center, right? Use it to make themselves feel important. It's not empathy. It's a predator. That is moral corruption. Pretending to be sensitive and caring and loving, it is not. And spiritual language can make that corruption harder to name. A predatory person may call the connection divinely guided. They may speak about soul ties, destiny, twin flames, divine timing, energetic alignment, spiritual contracts, healing journeys, or being sent into your life for a reason. Then your discomfort becomes fear. Your hesitation becomes trauma. Your boundary becomes resistance, right? Your discernment becomes self-sabotage. Your instinct to lead becomes proof that you are running from something sacred. But no spiritual language makes coercion holy. No one is divinely entitled to access your wounds. No person becomes safe because they can name your pain beautifully. No connection is meant to require your confusion, isolation, self-abandonment, or the collapse of your life where you were building before they arrived. There is another layer that we're not talking about it. Sometimes the predator, they don't arrive alone. Sometimes the relationship comes with an entire ecosystem of people who have already learned how to protect the person causing the harm, excuse their behavior, carry their messages, gather information, and make the target feel outnumbered. Make them feel outnumbered without ever openly admitting that that is what is happening. The partner may be the one who gains the intimate access first, right? They learn your history. They learn what you survived. Then they learn what you're working towards, what you're sensitive about, what you're trying to heal, what you fear losing, what parts of yourself you are still rebuilding. Then with that information, it doesn't stay private. It gets carried into family conversations, group chats, phone calls, side comments, holidays, dinners, water coolers, any concerned discussion that you were never invited into. By the time you realize that something personal has been shared, it may already be circulating through people who never earned the right to hold it. One relative begins treating you differently, yeah? Another starts offering advice you never asked for. Someone makes a comment that lets you know that they have been told more than they should have known. A family member may suddenly question your motives, your character, your spirituality, your parenting, your past, boundaries, your work, your healing, or just the way you respond to being mistreated. The details may be different, yeah, but the feeling is the same. You are no longer dealing with one person. You are standing inside a system where your private life has become material, and that material gets used. The patience gets used, emotional labor, your ideas, your resources, your empathy gets used, your ability to make people feel seen gets used, your resilience gets used. The very qualities they claim to dislike about you become the qualities they quietly extract from you. That is until there is less and less of you left to pour into your own life. Then comes the bait and switch. They may criticize your confidence while studying how you carry yourself. They will call you difficult, controlling, selfish, attention-seeking, arrogant, dramatic, unstable, too sensitive, too ambitious, too spiritual, too guarded, too pride, too quiet, goddamn, just too much, right? At the same time, they will begin copying the very thing they condemn. Your language, your style, your ideas, mannerisms, standards, boundaries, interests, your way of speaking, your ability to take up space, your creative work, your spiritual practices, your confidence, your vision for your own life. They didn't have that before you. Remember, you're in an ecosystem. The contradiction is not accidental. They may need you to see yourself through the distortion they created, while they quietly take pieces of what they saw in you and try to wear them for themselves. This is a part of the psychological abuse that is so insidious that the target doesn't understand what is happening until it's too late. The target becomes a container for everything the group refuses to confront in themselves. Their envy gets called your arrogance. Their manipulation gets called your instability, right? Their need for control gets you called difficult. Your personality is difficult. The way you hear is difficult. Everything you do is difficult. Their cruelty gets reframed as your sensitivity. Gossip is presented as a concern about your behavior that's in response to what they're doing to you. After enough repetition, the person being targeted can begin asking the wrong question. Instead of asking, why are all of these people reacting to me through the same distorted story? They begin asking, what is wrong with me? That is how the system gets inside someone's mind. Not only through direct abuse, through repetition, through triangulation, through having multiple people reflect back a false version of you until defending your own reality becomes exhausting. The partner may provoke you privately, then hand your reaction to the family as evidence. The family may validate the partner's version, then approach you with judgment disguised as concern. You react to being cornered, misrepresented, watched, or talked about, and suddenly that reaction becomes the centerpiece of the entire story. My Lord. Nobody examines what led up to it. Nobody asks what was said before you enter the room. Nobody questions why your private pain is fucking public discussion. They only study your response after the pressure has already been applied. That is how a group can make a person appear unstable while participating in the very conditions that destabilize them. The point is not always to convince you that they are good people. The point is often to make you so confused, depleted, ashamed, and emotionally occupied that you stop trusting yourself long enough to leave the role they assigned to you. You are expected to keep explaining, keep forgiving, keep giving context, keep proving that you are not who they said you are, keep offering access to people who have already shown you they will misuse you. They will misuse what they learn. They will, because they are fucking predators. Meanwhile, their lives may become organized around extracting from the person they claim to dislike. They take the energy, ideas, care, attention, labor, emotional intelligence, insight, and the light that they resent. They resent the person they had to draw from in order to feel more substantial about themselves. That is why the treatment can feel so surreal. They seem to hate what you bring into the room, yet they keep reaching for it. They criticize your standards, yet imitate them. They question your strength, yet depend on it. They complain about your presence, yet keep trying to pull you back into a system whenever you begin to detach. The issue is not that they do not see your value. The issue is that they see it and they want access to it without respecting the person it belongs to, right? It's an extraction from a predator. So, when the target finally pulls away, the group may intensify the pressure. They'll call it a family concern, call it a loyalty, may call it prayer, may call it accountability, right? But a group of people using shared information, shared pressure, a shared distortion to keep one person emotionally trapped is psychological abuse. That is where self-awareness becomes part of protection. The first signal is not always a confession, right? It may be the change in your own life after someone gains access to it, right? Before this person arrived, you may have been alone without feeling lonely, right? Healing without being consumed by the past. Tired, perhaps, but still moving towards your goals. Your mind belonged to you. Your time belonged to you. Your life had its own rhythm, right? Then contact begins and something starts shifting. Your sleep changes. Focus changes. Money changes. The peace you had before them becomes harder to reach. Old fears begin waking up in places where they've finally gone quiet, right? You start checking your phone more than you check in with yourself. You replay conversations. You begin explaining behavior that would have been obvious to you before the presence became emotionally important. You start losing energy to a dynamic that did not exist before they entered your life. The work you cared about becomes harder to focus on. Your friendships begin getting less attention. Your goals lose momentum. Your plans become delayed, right? Your nervous system is occupied now by conflict, confusion, explanations, emotional emergencies, reconciliations, promises, apologies, and another attempt to get you back to the version of a person you met before they had full access. That is how somebody can take you offline. Not always through one obvious event, sometimes through a slow cycle of destabilization. It leaves no room to hear yourself clearly. And that is a point. And that is a point where a person has to pause, not to shame themselves, not to call themselves foolish, not to decide that every uncomfortable emotion proves someone is dangerous, but to take inventory, right? What was happening in my life before this person entered? What has changed since they gained access? Was I truly lonely before I met them, or was I simply alone and at peace? Was I already distracted? Was I anxious? Was I already explaining myself this much? I don't remember that shit. I don't remember. I don't recall. Was I losing sleep? Was I already disconnected from my goals, my friendships, my focus, my body, my intuition, or the future I was building? Was I? Was I? I'm laughing, but I'm dead ass. That comparison matters, right? Human connection can bring old pain to the surface without malicious intent, right? Not every awakened wound means someone came to destroy you. But a safe person does not keep arranging circumstances that leave the wound active. A safe person does not keep you uncertain. A safe person does not make you chase clarity. A safe person does not punish you for slowing down. Slow down. A safe person does not use what you shared during conflict. A safe person does not make your trauma the center of the relationship. Predatory behavior moves in the opposite direction, right? The person becomes more interested after discovering the wound, more intense after seeing the fear, more entitled after learning the history, more offended when access is reduced, more manipulative when the old injury no longer keeps you attached. That is why the question is never only, can this person read me? The deeper question is, what happens after they learn where I hurt? Does that knowledge make them more patient with my pace? Do they hear not yet without punishing me for it? Do they protect what I shared even when they are upset? Do I feel clear after being around them, or more exposed, more confused, more emotionally preoccupied, more responsible for their moods than connected to my own life? Do I feel more like myself or less? That is the distinction between being seen and being studied. One person learns who you are and becomes more respectful of your humanity. The other learns where you break and begins deciding how to use it. Your intuition may begin speaking long before the proof arrives. It may show up as a feeling that the attention is flattering, but it is invasive. It may show up when someone knows too much about you too quickly while remaining difficult to truly know themselves. It may show up in the exhaustion that follows every conversation. It may show up when you realize you are explaining boundaries that should be respected the first time. It may show up when you begin managing their emotions more than you are living your own life. It's not paranoia, not necessarily, right? It may be your internal protection system recognizing that someone is studying your pain more closely than they are honoring your humanity. You do not need a confession before you reduce access. You do not need witnesses before you slow down. You do not need courtroom level evidence before deciding that someone's presence is costing you too much damn peace. That is the refresher course, right? You've been through that. We've learned that. We got a t-shirt. We took it back because it don't fit right. We don't want that, right? Not every familiar wound means you are back where you started. It's a refresher course. Sometimes it means you have reached the point where you finally know what to do differently. You stop negotiating with the pattern. You stop calling destabilization a connection. You stop waiting for the person who reopened the wound to become the person who heals it. You stop trying to make yourself understandable to a system committed to misunderstanding you. And you return to the life that was moving forward before they entered it. Not everybody who sees deeply is safe. Some people are trying to know you. They are trying to learn where you break and how much of your life they can take once they get inside.
End of message.